Hey everyone, today I want to introduce three guiding principles for effective hypothesis testing. I had a chance to review and create hundreds of hypotheses for data analysis. Of course, not everything was meaningful in the end, but I had a chance to practice and understand how I can apply data into business. And during this process, I understood some common themes of a good hypothesis, those that would guide our analysis. The way we formulate them can significantly affect the quality of our business insights. In other words, strong hypotheses lead to stronger insights, and here are a few principles that can help us get there. First, examine the relationships among multiple variables. What I mean by this is that in our dataset, I previously categorized variables into different groups because each has unique characteristics. As an example, there would be a group of policy types or claims or the time of those accidents happening or any personal information. Those are all groups. And of these, the most critical set of variables is related to the insurance product, the coverages that we have in our policy. Let's say we have, so you can start there. So let's say we're mainly focusing on collision coverage. You can try to identify the difference of collision coverage and with property damage. After you identify how those products are different, you can then drill down into other categories. As an example, let's say you were still focusing on collision coverage, then within that collision coverage, what kind of vehicles are there? And what kind of levels of vehicles are there? And what are the personal information related to those vehicle information? You can all like this, you can use multiple factors into your analysis and go deeper as you analyze things. So when analyzing relationships across multiple variables, you can visualize it in a hierarchy. So at the top, place the insurance product variables, then break those down further, looking at the vehicle involved, the age of the policyholder, and other relevant details. From there, you might dig a deeper and ask questions like, how do these individuals with these specific characteristics tend to behave in accidents? Or who was at fault and was there a policy report? By considering these factors, you can paint a clearer picture of the accident scenario. We also have data on the policyholders themselves, so we can explore whether that person had prior accidents. So this leads to extending our narrative to a more deeper insight. The diagram I'm showing is a basic illustration of how this flow can go. It starts with the overall insurance product, then delves into whether the vehicle was an SUV or a sedan, whether the accident happened in an urban or suburban area, and who caused the accident. So ultimately, we can find out how many accidents the responsible party had in the past, creating a coherent storyline. The second principle is to keep each focus area independent, yet link them into a single story. This might sound a bit complicated, but each focus area follows a narrative I just described. For instance, one product might provide full coverage, another might focus on collision, and the other might cover personal liability. Since each product's features are distinct, we should separate them based on our domain knowledge. And after splitting the data that way, we can dig into the storyline of each individual group. To visualize this, first on the very left you have all perils, all coverages, and in the middle you have collision, and on the right you have the liability. And below each coverages, the storyline is the same. The overall template of the storyline would be identical. However, to build a very comprehensive overall narrative, we need to compare these storylines at each level. Let's say you analyze the vehicle and policyholder data in the first group. Then you should replicate that same analysis for the collision focused product and again for the liability focused product. After comparing all of these three, we can see the broader differences and form a very holistic story. The third principle would be to be more specific. This one might seem very obvious, but it's crucial. Even if you want an in-depth story, you can't always consider a large number of variables simultaneously. So more realistically, you'll pick 2 or 3, maybe 4 different variables for your analysis, and then create visualizations and use statistical methods to identify any differences. The key is to combine these variables in a very specific way so you can uncover clear and actionable business insights. And in order to be specific, you have to combine these factors all at once. And moving forward, I'll share some of the ways you can combine these so you can create a more specific story out of it. In the upcoming videos, I'll share some practical tips and start creating and testing our actual hypotheses.